If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. Good morning, everyone. This is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. I have been trying to figure out a way to make wax seals that are pretty consistent. And I think I figured out a way, so I wanted to share it with you. What I found was the silicone mat. And the circles on here are a little bit bigger than what I would like. These are almost about 1.25 inches. I did find another mat that is about 1 inch, and I ordered it, but it's not here yet. And that's the one that I think would be the perfect size because of the wax seal stamp that I'm using. It's not very big. So 1.25 inches, as you can see, if I sit it in there, I have quite a bit left surrounding it. So I didn't want that much space left surrounding it. So I did order the 1 inch, and hopefully it'll work when it comes in. But these are the ones that I created so far. They look pretty consistent. When I do the wax seals in here, I don't fill up the little cavity all the way to the edge. I actually leave about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, because when you press the wax, the stamp onto the wax, it tends to spread it out and build this little border around it. So you don't want to fill it all the way to the end. And I will share with you how I do that. Now, when you're working with the wax seals, you have a couple of options. You can either get the sticks that you can burn. They have a wick, and you can melt them, or you can get the little beads that you can just put into the spoon. I highly recommend the beads because, one, the wax takes a very long time if you're trying to melt the stick. For me, it takes too long. And when you turn it off, you are going to have the suet that is burning off of that. So I don't like that. But the beads, they don't have a wick or anything. So you just put them in the little spoon and melt as many as you need. Typically, for the size of wax seal that stamp that I'm using, I melt about 6 of those little things, little beads, wax beads in the spoons. Another thing, there's different types of spoons that you can get to melt your wax in. Now, this one is the first one that I bought, and I bought it because it was pretty. You know, sometimes we're not very practical. I did buy it because it was pretty, but what I found was that when I was heating up the spoon, that the handle was starting to get a little warm. So if you're sensitive to heat, this might not be the way to go for you. It doesn't get too bad, but it does get a little warm. And so I picked up these with the wooden handle, because even though the metal part will get hot, the handle won't. And it's a good idea to get several, because in between, let's say I want to switch from gold to red, well, you know, I have to clean up the spoon. But if I have several spoons, I can have one that's designated just for red or one just for gold, because I'm not going to have, you know, 20 colors in wax seals, in wax beads. So, you know, it's okay if you have a few, and then you can designate a spoon for each. So I picked up this set right here, all wooden handles, for from Amazon for about a little over $8. So it wasn't too bad. But that's what I recommend. Or if you, like I said, if you want to take the time to clean it out, what you do is you heat it up and let it melt. And be careful, though, and take a napkin and wipe out all the excess wax so you can switch over to another color. As far as warming melting the wax, there's a couple of options. You can get, you usually want to get like a votive candle, and you turn on the little tea light candle and you hold the spoon over it, if you have that kind of patience. Or there is a little wooden or metal holder that you do stick a votive candle underneath, and then the spoon sits on top, which that's not too bad. But the problem with that it does let out suet. And the back of your spoon, as you can see, this one, I really need to clean it. It does have, and I wiped it some, but it has suet on the back of the spoon from the candle. And I did find another option. There was a warmer for wax, the wax sticks, and the wax beads. I didn't order it, and I thought about it. It wasn't very expensive, but the problem I had with that was that when you go to scoop up some wax from that little pot, it's not very deep, so it's going to be hard to get enough in your spoon to melt. Two, you're going to have the wax running down the side of your spoon. So that's, to me, that can get messy. There is another option. I know there's people use a glue gun and use the wax sticks, the colored ones, to make seals out of those. For me, I don't really like that idea because, again, when you go to change to a different color, then you have to get all the wax out of there. If you don't use all the wax, you're going to be wasting quite a bit when you want to switch to another color. And I don't think it's practical to buy, 5 or 6 glue guns just for wax versus the little spoons. So that's another option. Now, the other option that I saw someone do on YouTube, it is not my original idea. I was looking for ways to make the perfect or a consistent wax seal. I didn't find anybody using the silicone mold, but I did see someone using a heat gun to heat up the spoon and melt the wax. And I thought that was the way to go for me because it's more fast than burning the stick. It's faster than putting it on the little votive candle. And it doesn't get messy because there's going to be no suet because there's not a candle underneath. So those are the plus for me as far as melting the wax. So I'm going to stop talking now and I'm going to melt some of it so I can show you how I make my wax seals. Now, when I do the cavity, again, I'm not going to fill it all the way to the edge. I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. That way it has room to spread. When I press my wax stamp on top, I want it to have room to squeeze out to the sides. And if it's full, it's just going to bulge up and it's not going to be pretty. Another thing, when you press this into your wax, it tends to want to slip and slide. So don't apply too much pressure. All I do is I just get my wax seal, and it is weighty because they're kind of made of brass. So they have weight on them. And I just kind of set it down in the middle and I leave it alone. I don't do nothing else. Leave it a few seconds. I pick up take off the stamp, and it's pretty, and it's perfect or close to perfect. Nothing's going to ever be perfect, but close. So I'm going to go ahead and melt this wax so I can show you how I do it. Let me move this one from there. I don't want to put my hot. So it's going to be a little noisy, guys. I'm sorry, but bear with me. So I'm going to let it heat up for a little bit. And I thought this was a brilliant idea. I'm going to melt the top a little bit. See how it's melting? Really quick. So what you want to do is don't leave it in one spot because you don't want to burn your wax. Just kind of move it around a little bit and also heat the bottom of the spoon. And so this is going to take a little bit, but not very long. This is a whole lot faster than trying to burn, to heat it up on a little votive candle or trying to burn the wax stick. See how it's melting pretty quickly? And I kind of had to mix white and pink together because I only had like a little sample pack of the little beads. And I didn't have enough, so I kind of had to mix 2 colors to have enough, because you want to have enough of the wax. See that big lump in the middle? That's a wax that hasn't melted. So you want to make sure that you're melting that. See how the wax starts to move? That's what you want. But like I said, I can still see that lump in the center, so I know that that's not fully melted. Let's see. Let's see if I can melt that. It's starting to look pretty good, so I'm going to try and do it this way, because even if it's not melted all the way, as long as it's soft, I can still use the wax seal. So I'm going to go ahead and pour. Hopefully I am in frame. And I'm going to pour right in the center. I'm not going to swirl or anything like some people do, because this will create pretty much a round puddle just by pouring it in the center. There goes that big clump. And that's not what I wanted to do, but it is what it is. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to take my stamp, and you do have a few minutes. It's not going to dry up immediately or set. And I'm just going to get my wax seal, put it in the center, and I left it alone. I didn't push it. I didn't do anything. Now, I can tell you that I don't like the way this one is going to set up, so I'm going to try it again and hopefully melt it better. The beauty of this is that if it doesn't melt the way if you don't like the seal the way it is, you can just cut it up and reheat it. So that's what I'm going to do here. But I am going to take a paper towel and clean off the wax from the bottom here, because you don't want that to melt into your gun, into your heat gun. So let me grab something really quick to wipe it off. And it's best to wipe it off when it's hot. That way, see how it comes off? It's not a big deal. And that's how you want to clean them too. So I'm going to remove this. And here is that wax seal. Now, I don't like that the cherub is not in the center. So I have a bigger border here and a smaller one here. But guess what? All I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this up into little pieces. And I'm going to put it back in the spoon and reheat it. And the reason for that too was that it wasn't melted completely. You guys saw that lump that was in the center. So I'm just going to cut it up. No big deal. Some of you might say, well, that looked pretty good, but, you know, it's just a me thing. So I'm going to cut it up. And it kind of looks like I really had too much wax in the spoon. So I'm going to leave this piece out. And we're going to try it again. But if you notice when I was talking to you, even though the wax was in the cavity, I still had time to put the stamp on there. So let's redo this, guys. And you got to remember that I'm working with a mold that's might be a little too big for my stamp. See how it melts real quick? And you can burn the wax, so you have to be careful. You don't want to burn the wax. There we go. How fast was that? See how it's running from side to side when I tilt the spoon? That's because it's melted already. So let's try it again. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in the center of the cavity, not filling it all the way to the end, just about like that. See, I have an edge, and I'm going to place my seal right, or try to place it right in the center. I feel like I did it again. It still might be too much wax. So you kind of just have to figure out how much wax is enough, because as you can tell, I still have some in the spoon, and the cavity is full. But I see that it did shift again to the side. But no matter what, it's not going to go outside of the perimeter. So they are going to be pretty consistent as far as the diameter of the seal. So let's remove that. It doesn't stick to the mat either. It won't stick to your silicone mat. And there it is. I am going to do it one more time, because if you look at these, where it stayed more in the center, the little edge here is more consistent. And this one, you see where it's narrow here and it's very thick there. And I don't like that. So I'm going to cut it up and redo it again, and hopefully we'll get it right, or I'll get it right this time. And again, I'm going to eliminate some of the wax. I'm not going to put it all in here because like I said, it was too much. But once you start working with a seal and you're using the beads, you will know exactly how many beads you need to put on there to have just enough for whatever size of seal you're using. So I'm going to leave that aside. And because this is non-stick, anything that gets onto your mat will come off. And let's try it one more time. This is going to be it, guys. I'm not going to do it again. But I love the way that this really melts it pretty quick. If you're using the little white one by Ranger, the Tim Holtz one, it takes a little longer. But if you use these that get a little hotter faster, it's going to be faster to melt. As you can see, it's pretty quick. It does a quick job of melting it. And you make sure it's nice and melted. That looks pretty good. And when you get it too hot, guys, it'll get bubbles. So you want to be careful with that. Don't overheat it. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to stop there. Clean off my spoon while the wax is still hot. And I don't know, see how it's not all the way around? It's like an oval. We'll see if this works. So this might be a little better. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a lot better. But as you can see, I still have wax in my spoon. So that was still way too much wax. I could probably put these pieces that I cut out into that spoon and get another seal. But now when my other smaller one comes in, it's going to be really nicer because I did want a smaller seal than 1 1/4 inches. I wanted like 1 inch size seals. And the stamps come in different sizes. So sometimes you will need the bigger cavities, and sometimes you can get away with the smaller ones. Like I'm using them to embellish my little envelopes. If you didn't see those before, I will share them. I will share them right now. See how I'm using them on my embellishment. And the thing with the wax seals, that they're not very delicate. You think that if you ship these in the mail that they're going to melt or they're going to break or anything like that. They're actually pretty sturdy. They're not going to fall apart on you. So this is one of the ones that I used, and this is how I made, and this is how I used it on my embellishment. So this is ready to go. Look at how pretty that is. So that looks better. It's not perfect, but it looks a whole lot better. And if they all look pretty much about, and the diameter is always going to be the same if you're using the right size cavity. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this helps you. And if nothing else, guys, this keeps your wax from sticking. So that's a major plus. I hope that this helps you out if you are having trouble making wax seals, because I did try it on wax paper and it stuck to the wax paper. I tried it on the silicone mats for my glue gun, and it didn't stick to that. So it was perfect for that. But having the little circle, the little template to fill up is, I mean, you get even better results. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone is having a great day, and God bless. If you try this, let me know so I can check out what you did with them. Bye.